Hi everyone, today we're back with Ronnie, also known as Abuzu. He's from the Xbox community and currently ranked number 3 in for champs. So Ronnie, how are you doing? And how was the weekend?
Um,
Saw you get absolutely smashed it, getting third in the world. That's not an easy job. A full on 30 and 0. I know we're like too much into the season, it's just gonna end now. But again, maintaining a consistency which you have throughout the year, that's commendable. So what do you feel about that?
yeah, I feel good. I've had multiple 30 and O's already this year, and quite a few top 100 finishes and champs. But and I know it's July. A lot of people will say like it don't really mean much. But for me personally, although I've had another, I think this is my full 30 and O this year. I haven't had third in the world yet, so it's my best finish personally. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. To be fair, like I still come up against a lot of good players and stuff. There's a lot of good rewards. So everyone's still trying that you're coming up against and stuff. And not only that, but obviously now being signed with NFG, I feel like I've been playing very well, especially towards the latter half of this year. Well, the FIFA year anyhow. So yeah, I want to make sure the best I can really to make sure I maintain that and bring it into FIFA 21 so I can get ready, hopefully make a few events to smash it.
Yeah, and hopefully the pandemic gets resolved soon so we can all get back to competing in live events. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that all gets cleared up and we can make some money.
Absolutely. And so what do you think? Is there much of a difference? But what do you prefer, playing in offline events and live events, or do you prefer playing just online?
Well, for me personally, obviously the issue with online is, I'm sure everyone in the community is experience it, is I keep disconnecting from matches every now and again. Server issues, like if you're playing in prime times and stuff like that, it just feels like a complete different game you're playing. However, I played at EPrem this year, and I went to the actual event at Spurs, which was held within the stadium. And we had all the Xbox players and all the PS4 players. Everyone's playing at the same time. And I have to admit, I didn't even feel like I was playing FIFA 20. It felt like a complete different game. And in all honesty, it was horrible. Everything I was familiar with, everything that I knew the game was overpowered, I knew was good, you couldn't do none of it. It was like literally just, it was like I was playing PES or something. It was just not FIFA and not FIFA that I know. So yeah, I'm not too sure, to be fair. Obviously, if you was to make an actual event in the upcoming year and stuff, I know a lot of the pro players and they tell me what the events are like and they sound fun, they sound exciting. Obviously, playing people face to face, and not only that, but the events itself sound like, as I've said already, do sound fun. They do multiple stuff, the players at the events, kind of the media stuff at the events. So obviously, that'll be all fun to partake in. But I do have to admit, for me personally, I like familiarity. I know I'm good when I play from home at my desk. I know I can perform. So I do like the idea of playing online as well because, yeah, like I said, I know it's just what I'm familiar with, and I know I can do well there. You can always turn up to an event and your head may not be in the right place. The pressure can get a bit too much. So yeah, it is a different environment. But for me personally, I'm happy with either or. I'm pretty confident. I know my ability. I know I can beat people. So yeah, I'm happy with either or. It's just how it comes on the day. It's FIFA is very much a mental game. So yeah, hopefully I can, whether I'm at a LAN event or whether I'm online, my head's in the right place. I feel like I can beat anyone.
Yeah, so do you think once, I'm pretty sure, since I think we've seen a great form ever since you've joined and even before that. So once you join and once you start making it to live events, do you think it's going to be a different ballgame, with people watching you from all over the world, and there's going to be, your opponent is just going to be seated right in front of you. There's going to be celebrations, there's going to be noise. So do you think you'll be well equipped, and a FIFA player needs to be well equipped with that side of the game as well, along with his skills or her skills?
Well, of course, I think it's like anything really. Do you know what I mean? Any sports you look at, you've got people that can perform in LAN events, people that can't. For me personally, like I said, I played football and stuff like that all my life. I played for like professional youth teams like Chelsea, QPR, Watford, loads of professional teams. As a youngster, we played in stadiums, we played in front of crowds. I played on Sky Sports, stuff like that. So I'm kind of a bit more used to a bigger stage than I know most people may be. Don't get me wrong, I still feel the pressure and stuff like that. But I feel like personally anyway, I can be kind of well equipped to be able to adapt myself to that. But I know full well, I watch a lot of Call of Duty gaming and stuff like that, and you see players like that are absolutely amazing. Then it comes to the actual LAN event and the pressure gets a bit much and they don't perform to the best of their ability. But you see it with FIFA players as well. You see it with everyone. Once you get familiar with something as well, like I'm sure myself, anyone, that first LAN event is exhilarating, but also nerve-wracking. So when you first turn up, I guess it's whether you break under the nerves and break under the pressure, or you can excel and convert the nervousness into making you just play your absolute best, really. But yeah, I think to be honest, time will tell. I played at LAN events and I've not necessarily, I have performed, but not necessarily got the results. It's very much just like I said, a mind game, really. It all depends on the day. I feel like anyone that's played, when you get to that level as well, anyone really can beat anyone to a certain extent. It's all about who shows up in that particular match. And also, how FIFA is, and sometimes how, you can get rigged in games. Shots that should usually go in don't seem to go in. So I think it's a combination of, stuff falling your way and also you being in the right mindset, really, and just how you perform under that pressure.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I used to compete back then in FIFA 17, 18, like heavily. So this is one of the traditional old school events where, there were people like watching and also playing. So you could have fans support you. You could have actually your friends, like seated right in front of you and celebrating a goal. So this was me representing back then in 2017. It was an Asian competition. So every country had players. I went through the qualifiers of India, and I got selected, obviously. And I went there in Bangkok, and there were like 9 countries: Japan, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and every country had 2 players and their own set of fan bases who were there. So I have a very like strong connection to that, because when I was playing, so it was a semis, and I was down by 2-1. And when the guy scored the 3rd goal, around 10, 15 people, so the guy was from Malaysia, 10, 15 people stood up right in front of me and screamed at me, while shushing me.
Trying to, I get
I mean, so that's when, the mental strength sort of needs to come into play. So I didn't bother much into it because, it's quite easy to get angry there. And in the next 20 minutes, I ended up scoring 4 goals and I won the competition itself. So it was more
of course.
You can't be intimidated. You can't be feeling the pressure. It's just like football. I mean, Christian is a great example, playing in real life football with crowds and with audiences. That's a very different story. So, and we can,
of course it is.
Don't you see, with the crowd not being in place, the home games and the away games, they don't really matter because, there is no one there to support anyone. Yeah. What do you think?
You got no presence. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So talk about the Premier League. Which club do you support?
So I personally support Tottenham Hotspur.
Right.
Been my club since I was a young kid. All my family support them. Yeah, Spurs through and through.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they're just like settling in with Mourinho. It's his first season, and what do you think they're going to do? How they're going to do the next season?
Well, going off the result we've just had, losing to Sheffield United 4-1, it just reminded me of a FIFA game, to be honest. Every man behind the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't really know, in all honesty. Everyone else seems to be improving, and in all honesty, I think Tottenham, at the last few years, we've been very static. We're just, we've been good, not great, not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't going to cut it these days. You know what I mean? You can see Man City absolutely looking spectacular, Liverpool flying through, even Chelsea signing Werner, Ziyech, and all these players. You know what I mean? And they're looking to do more business. They're looking very dangerous. You know what I mean? And then then underneath that, you've got Arsenal, who I obviously hate, but they're not looking the worst. So I don't really know, to be honest. It's we had a great last season, obviously getting in the Champions League final, still doing all right, sort of thing. But it's just, I guess time will tell, really. I kind of I want us to do well, but in all honesty, I'm a bit optimistic now. Do you know what I mean? Last few years, I felt pretty confident us getting our Champions League spot and stuff like that. And as I've said, I feel like we're kind of moving in a straight line at the moment and everyone else is moving forward. So I guess it's just, we wait and see how it goes, really. Obviously, I want us to do well, but not 100% how good it will come.
All right, I support Liverpool. Very happy, finally, after 30 years. And
of course.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there. I do live in Liverpool, but due to the pandemic, I had to come back home. So I couldn't watch the competitions. Yeah, probably not the best idea to go there at the stadium at Anfield and celebrate with the fans and probably catch Corona. So nah. But
Of course.
yeah, I mean, quite happy with how the season has turned so far. But I'm actually quite scared of City. I mean, not right now because they're currently losing to Southampton 1-0. But the next season they've been fierce. They've been deadly. I mean, the
Yeah.
4-0 game, they absolutely battered us. They killed the game, and I'm just scared if that happens. That could be probably because Liverpool had a great party time. They weren't too much
Yeah, I agree.
on the game.
So
So
I have to admit, I personally anyway, I think obviously Liverpool have had a great season. I think Man City have drawn or lost games which they shouldn't have, but and I know obviously Liverpool have already run the league, so you can take into account that they may not have been trying their hardest, knowing it don't really mean nothing to them. In addition to that, I'm sure they would have been out partying. You see the videos where Klopp himself seems to be happy to have a laugh, and the players are ecstatic.
yeah,
So I have no doubt that obviously they've been out partying and stuff like that. But I do have to admit, Man City look absolutely every game really. They've been looking absolutely quality.
yeah,
They've been dominating every team, and it's only a matter of time into the game where they've been breaking the teams down. So I do think next season is going to be fun to watch. I think Man City are looking good. They're looking quality. They're looking like they really want it, and I think next season they could be right up Liverpool's. You know. So
yeah.
yeah, I think wait and see. Really, I'll be honest. I think personally, my favourites. I think Man City will take the league again next year. I think they're looking dangerous, and yeah, just wait and see, really.
Probably gonna have a few more signings in a lot of clubs now. I think they're trying their best to stop Liverpool and Man City. So you can't. That's the gem of the Premier League. You never know who's gonna win. You never know.
Well, not only that, I think yeah, of course, I think a good underdog, to be honest, is going to be Chelsea next season. You know what I mean? They've done well. They've been performing with youngsters, all these like a lot of newbies to the Premier League, and a lot of youngsters coming through in that. They've just signed Werner, who, whenever I watch him in the Bundesliga, he is unbelievable. Ziyech as well. I absolutely love Ziyech. I think he's an unreal footballer. How they convert to the Premier League, you never know. Like you don't know till it comes. Really, like there's so many footballers that come to the Premier League, and they just ain't the same player. But Werner, I do think he's just a goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? He puts everything away. Ziyech, you see him in the Champions League where Ajax were doing it last year, and he comes up against whoever, and he absolutely dominates the game. So I'm worried about them, to be honest. I do think they've got a solid squad. They need a new left back. But yeah, they've got a dangerous side next year. So I think they could be a real good underdog,
Yeah.
potentially chasing Liverpool and Man City.
So as we can see, a lot of football clubs they're promoting the youngsters. A lot of young players have joined in. In
Yeah.
so so what do you think? What's the recipe for their success? Because we've seen in the Premier League a lot of the young talents they've done quite well performing and coming up with the absolute the the main rulers of the Premier League, the main guys who actually run the Premier League, the mid-aged guys who dominate the field, but they've come up and they've come up quite strongly against these already established names. So do you think
Yeah.
what's so there's some sort of a discipline which has come into football for the young talents to follow, and I've seen something similar happen in esports. A lot of young talents have come up in FIFA esports, and they've been taking out a lot of established names. As very good example of Tex F2.
Yeah, of course.
So, what do you think? As you've also come up in the team recently, and let's just say you're a fairly young guy. So, how do you think it sort of relates to the real world football we have, where young people are disciplined enough to take on some established names? So, how do you think that's going to play out in your FIFA stint?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've played football, I've played FIFA. For me personally, I think it is as cliche as it is. It's all about your mindset. Obviously, I think you do have a certain level of natural ability. I personally think where I played football all my life, like for example, it converts to FIFA. I have that kind of footballing brain. In the sense, like for example, when I'm playing FIFA, I try and think what my opponent's gonna do. Do you get what I mean? Like if I'm dribbling one way, or I think my opponent's gonna stick out a leg out this way, I can do a skill that makes me go the other way. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I also think it's always your willingness to learn. Like when you play football and that, you know what I mean? Like you can have Phil Foden, for example, in training and stuff like that. He wants to learn from David Silva and the players around him, the older players and that. They got a great ability which they can convey to him and help him learn. It's the same in the FIFA community. I've come up playing with my guy Hassan, and literally I started last year. Last year was my first year playing FIFA. I've always played FIFA, but it was my first serious year, like first year ever played foot champs, anything like that. And I got to know him. We become close friends and stuff. And I literally played friendlies against him for the whole year, every day, really. And it was your willingness to take in information. I would watch him. Like he's probably one of the most skillful pro players I know. And on the edge of my box, he used to drive me crazy. But I was able to watch him and learn. And not only that, I'd ask him, like, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? And he'll always be willing to show me and teach me. Same as lyrics. I play lyrics a lot. And he sometimes will turn around and he'll teach me how to do this skill. Or it's just the willingness to learn. And not only that, but it's also the willingness to grind. You know what I mean? Like, I play FIFA a lot. And I find that the more I play it, the more I learn. I learn what's overpowered in a game. I learn what is a good skill, for example. Or I know from this certain angle in the game, there's an overpowered asset, as you may say. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just learning your game, learning how you play, and learning what's good in the game, really. And like I said, the willingness to learn, you play against other professional players or even in qualifiers. You're playing against the top level players there. So you've got to study the game while you're playing it, or you could even record it and then you can go back and watch the recordings. Or I constantly watch other pro players on Twitch and stuff like that, and watching them, you're constantly able, if you're willing to take in that information, constantly trying to learn from it, you're just gain such a good understanding for the game, same as like professional footballers would. Do you know what I mean? And that helps you then excel through the levels and become a better player in general and excel your game.
Yeah, so that's a great insight. And talking about how these young players have made it through the big league, I think it's more down to the discipline. So, whatever you do in the game, you do in the game. So, but there's a life outside of the game. Talk at football or talk FIFA, and knowing that in your young age, you're quite prone to get distracted. There's so many things to distract you from your path, and there's a lot of responsibility. There's not many responsibilities when you're young. But when you start to take up responsibilities, I think that there's a lot of discipline which goes behind becoming, a FIFA player or a footballer. So what would your suggestion be to the upcoming talents? And, personally, I know you have a fiance and you've managed it quite well with your FIFA career. So what advice would you like to give to new players who are young and there's a lot of distractions in the world? So how can they stay on track with FIFA?
Well, I believe with anything, do you know what I mean? You've got to focus on your craft. So for me, for example, especially at this moment in time with COVID and stuff like that, I'm quite lucky. I've always been self-employed. So therefore, I'm currently still getting paid and I'm not having to work. So that's really allowed me to have time to perfect my game with FIFA and improve where I need to improve and learn a lot more about the game. That's why I'm grinding it so hard at the moment, because come next year, I may not be able to play it as much as I am. So when you get that opportunity, you really got to take it. Like I said, at the moment, we've got this virus going on and stuff like that, and we have the last few months. So I've taken the opportunity to try my best to play as much FIFA as I can and perfect my craft, as you may say. Not only that, as you mentioned, I do have a fiance, and I have to admit she's amazing. She's very understanding, especially the fact she knows about, like, I'm in NFG and stuff like that now. And she's constantly motivating me, allowing me to play the game as much as I do. To be honest, I don't know any other girl in the world that would let me play as much of my Xbox as I do. But so I'm very lucky there. And it's just, it's giving me that time to just perfect my craft. Really just stick at it, try your best and have that willingness to learn. Like I said, I play against other pro players all the time now. I literally look for friendlies against other pro players just to try and improve wherever I can. Like, they may beat me 4 or 5-0, which used to happen. But each goal they're scoring, I'm learning how they play. Not only that, I'm learning what I'm doing wrong. And just learning from mistakes. And also, just learning in general. And for anyone else that's young and coming into it, I will always say, obviously, if you're in school, anything like that, they always got to come first. Like, FIFA can't necessarily just be your life. Like, don't get me wrong, it's I'm really excited now. I played Xbox and I played it a lot. Like I said, I used to play Call of Duty, stuff like that. I played a lot of Xbox over my last few years. But I've always made sure, like, if I was working or if I was in school, they always have to come first. That's your future. That, you know what I mean? Like, end of the day, there's not loads of professional FIFA players, and there's a lot of good players. Always make sure you always have a fallback plan, but never be scared to chase your goals. If you want to play FIFA all night long, by all means do it. So yeah, just try and perfect your craft is what I'd say, and also understand what, you know, have like a ladder, you may say. You know what I mean? Education's here, and here's your trying to become a pro on FIFA, Call of Duty, whatever game it may be. So, you know, always take, you know, education and commitments first, but
Yeah, so that's
push for what you want to achieve.
another great like input from you. And so what I could take out from this is, have a sort of a schedule where you can like put up things that, from 7 to 10 I have to practice FIFA, then I have to study, then I have to, do this, then I have to.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what I used to do when I was doing my GCSEs and my A levels and stuff like that. I used to have like a sort of set schedule per day, which I'd have I set these hours to study in, these hours I can play a bit of FIFA. And, it is give and take. Like I said, you always have to make sure you have your plan A, plan B, for example. If you enjoy FIFA, and you enjoy playing it, that's all the better, really. So you can always become, a pro, or just try and get the best you can be. But make sure you study and put your life and commitments first.
Yeah, you never really know like what's gonna happen. So yeah, always planning B, C, D, whatever you want. So yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great to hear. And just to close it off, since we've talked a lot about football discipline, and reliability is the biggest factor in football teams. You need teammates to rely upon. So if we were to build up a Bazoo squad of the most top 11 reliable players in the Premier League right now, who would you bank your money upon? They don't make any mistakes. What's it going to be? I'm just going to put on the squad builder, and we'll just like make the squad and show it to all.
Yeah, we'll make a quality one. No problem. Sounds good.
All right. Can you see the screen right now?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So starting off, which formation would you want in this legendary reliable?
I'd probably my FIFA formation 4-2-3-1.
All right. Second, it's all right. So starting from the right back. Who do you want to have?
Right back. See, I'm going to go with current times anyway. I think we've got 3 amazing youngsters at the moment in England at right back. You've got Trent, you've got Wan-Bissaka, and you've also got Reece James.
All right.
I think all of them are, international quality, absolutely unreal players, but I think you got to go with Trent personally. He's got the ability to defend. He's got the ability to pass. He can create an attack out of nothing, really. I do have to admit, I think he's an exceptional right back.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. And moving on to the centre back.
And obviously, you're going to have Virgil van Dijk like this. There's just no one better, is there? Do you know what I mean?
Is it going to be an all full-fledged Liverpool squad?
Nah, no way. Far from it.
All right. Moving on to the next centre back.
Obviously, so sorry, are we doing Premier League current, or are we doing all time?
Premier League.
Is it just for the current Premier League squads, or is it all time Premier League players?
Let's do the current one because it should be more relevant, yeah, for the next season.
Yeah, no problem. All right, my other centre back. Let me have a little think. I would probably put. So I'm having a little think. I'm just trying to think who exactly. I would probably put Laporte.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice. Good pick. And
I think you've got a lot of good Premier League centre backs and that, but I do rate Laporte. I think he's a quality defender.
What about left back?
Left back. Who would I have? I have to admit, I rate Robertson. He's a quality player, and he's you got to give him. He's unreal. I don't personally love him too much, but he deserves his spot.
Absolutely, and yeah. So who's going to be the goalkeeper?
My goalkeeper has got to be our saviour, Hugo Lloris. I absolutely love this guy. He can fumble a bit sometimes, let a few goals in, but he's an absolute animal.
Yeah. There it is. And your 2 CDMs, the backbone of the team, who are going to hold the line.
Well, I think it's quite evident. You're going to need your little N'Golo Kante in there. There's no one better. I absolutely love him.
Yeah. And the other one?
My other one, I do think, I'm just having to think if there's anyone else potentially. Obviously, you got some honourable mentions, Fernandinho and that, but I have to admit, I think I'm going to put Ndidi in there.
Yeah.
Of Leicester City. I think, he's a just all-round great player.
Good friend of the boss man himself, Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
Buddies, yeah.
And then Cam, I think everyone's going to pick the same Cam De Bruyne. Personally, I think he's the best player in the world. There's no one that can pass a ball like him. He can shoot from anywhere. He's just absolutely unreal, absolutely crazy.
I would agree, 100% agree. Now,
and then my Lamb or Ram. Which one do you want to do first, Lamb or Ram?
Anything.
All right, my Lamb, the almighty Ronaldo. You're gonna have no one better. My favourite player. Yeah, just Son's an absolute godsend, especially for Tottenham.
Absolutely, he's been killer. Love this guy. Yeah, that's quite a reliable squad. And yeah, we'll just wrap up with the DM and the striker.
I think Ram. It would have to be between Mane and Sterling. They're both amazing. But you know what? The way Sterling's just ripped up Joe Gomez on the weekend. Well, on the week, whatever. I think I'm gonna have to go with Sterling.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And yeah, the scorer of the team.
And then up top, I think it's obvious. Being a Tottenham fan, got to have big Harry Kane up there. He's an absolute goal machine. He's not necessarily the striker. He's not the striker you're using FIFA necessarily. Not quite got the pace all the time and that, but the eye he has for goal is just undeniable.
Absolutely. I mean, this squad looks great. It has a mix-up of, the right pace, the right technique. And, of course, you have Harry Kane, who's a tank, who's going to, just like capitalize on the chances and just going to score. We have...
Of course. But I do have to say, I think we should bring back to the Premier League big Gareth Bale. He's my all-time favourite player. Absolutely love Bale. And he'd be my number one straight in that squad.
That's a great squad. And yeah, I hope you had a great time. I personally enjoyed, knowing more about you from the FIFA side. There's lots to learn, and it's great seeing our personalities develop up as we're like moving into FIFA. And there's a life outside of it, and there's a life outside of it which kind of shapes our in-game performance as well. It sort of dictates how we're gonna do in the game, how we're gonna have like more discipline into our lives. And I'm sure a lot of young people can, learn from pros like you. So yeah, thanks, Ronnie.
No, definitely. Thank you very much, mate. All right, you have a lovely day.
All right, yeah, thanks for joining in. And
guys, mate.
Next Sunday. Thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, perfect. Sweet, mate. Cheers.